From the studio, high atop Jordan Hall in the College of Education and Health Professions at Columbus State University in Columbus, Georgia, this is Education Forum with your hosts Jeff Conklin and Greg Blaylock. Welcome to Education Forum. I'm Jeff Conklin here with my co-host Greg Blaylock. Welcome, Greg.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate being here.
Today's guest is a new face on Education Forum, but not a new face here on campus. With us today on Education Forum is the Dean of Students here at Columbus State University, Mr. Aaron Chip Reese. Welcome to Education Forum.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys.
Pleasure to have you on today.
Yes, sir.
So, just to start out, let's get a little bit about your background. How long have you been at CSU?
Well, I tell people that's kind of a trick question.
Okay.
This is my second term at Columbus State. I showed up here in the 90s, in fact, 1990, and for most of the 90s, I was the baseball coach.
Okay.
And coached up through this 97 season, and then I left to do some private business. I was in full-time ministry for a bit.
Okay.
And really found out the best ministry I ever had was with a bunch of college students in a dugout.
Okay.
That was the best time I
They
really
were looking for that. Yeah.
And so I started looking to try to get back into education in some way, in higher education, and found a little junior college in South Georgia. If anybody knows Andrew Junior College down in Cuthbert.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you've been to Andrew College, you've seen the Gnats as well.
Oh, yes.
I
spent, Nat belt. Yes,
that's right.
Indeed,
I spent 7 years below the Nat line there.
Yes.
And went in as a baseball coach and ended up in the Dean of Students role.
Okay.
And so when the opportunity came to come back to Columbus, I called everybody. When I heard this job was open, I started calling folks, writing letters. I swung through the campus, whatever I could do.
Sure.
This is a great town. It's a great university. And so I left with shorts and saying, "Come boy, come babe." And I came back with a tie, but both positions have really been a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah, both very, very good.
So are you from here?
No, I grew up in Atlanta. Actually, grew up in Atlanta, in South Atlanta, where 285 and Washington Road come together. If you ever been up that way, and so that was the homestead.
Okay.
But I went from. I was a head coach at Kennesaw State, which they only had 5,000 students in 1986 when I started there.
Okay. Yeah, much different.
It was, I'm like really old. I go way back. But had the opportunity to interview here after being at Kennesaw for 5 years, and came down here to work with Herbert Green, who's the athletic director at the time, and. Now Columbus is home. My kids grew up here.
Okay.
It's kind of like wherever your kids ride bicycles through the halls of a college, that kind of becomes your home.
Yeah, that would, yeah.
And so this is really home now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a transplanted Atlantean.
All right. All right. Excellent.
So you were a baseball coach at Kennesaw. What got you into coaching to begin with?
Well, it was that thing of, we're all going to go to the big leagues, right? I was a left-handed pitcher in high school.
Okay.
And had, several scholarship offers and ended up going to junior college in Florida.
All right.
Okay.
And because if you go to junior college in Florida, you got a chance to go to the big leagues. And it had a decent arm and a good curveball.
Okay.
And a line drive in the elbow stopped the professional tour, but I ended up at West Georgia over in Carrollton. And I played over there. I met my wife, so all you folks out there that are looking to find somebody special, college is a great place to do it. But I met my wife over at West Georgia, and from there started getting interested in the idea of coaching. And by the time I was a senior, my arm was done.
Was it?
Yeah. You're sleeping with ice packs on. I was taking cortisone shots.
Oh yeah.
But I ended up with the Braves for a couple of years as a trainer, coach, bus driver, clubhouse manager. In the minor leagues, you do everything.
Yeah, just to be there. Yeah.
You really do, because you want the experience.
Oh, sure you do.
You really do.
Sure
And all of us want to get to the big leagues.
Of course.
Well, that didn't work. But
they weren't counting pitches then, were they?
No, nobody counted pitches.
Yeah.
They counted outs.
Yeah.
As long as you're getting people out,
You're up there. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And so yeah, there was a lot of pitches. Yeah, a lot of pitches. But I ended up at Clemson. Did my master's work at Clemson and was the pitching coach for the Tigers.
Okay.
It was there in the early '80s, and from there ended up Kennesaw. 5 years at Kennesaw, and then had a chance to come here. But my dad played pro ball. My brother played a lot of years in the minor leagues, and ended up on the staff with the Kansas City Royals as a coach in Kansas City. Okay. So we're baseball.
Yes, you are.
Our spring break, we would reside infields while other people went to the beach. So this is what we did. So walking out of the dugout, it was difficult. It was. It was a difficult thing to do. Because that's what I do. You know, I'm a baseball guy. Sure. And a lot of my analogies are, you know, somehow spin back to the diamond in some way.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool.
So now as Dean of Students, tell us a little bit more. What does Dean of Students do? What is that all about?
That's a great question that I had. I guess it's been about 11 or 12 years ago now. I made the offhanded comment when I was down at Andrew College to the athletic director. They had a failed search for a Dean of Students. And I said, I could do that in my part-time. You know, I mean, it was a little student life, you know, run res life, throw a couple of parties. The next day, the president walked in and said, hey, I heard you were popping off about being a Dean of Students. You could do it in your spare time. I went, hey, I apologize, sir. He goes, no, I'm here to offer you the job. And I didn't know what the Dean of Students was, really. And so I was the baseball coach and Dean of Students, a little bit of school.
You said you're going to do it part-time. By gosh, you got to.
You're going to do it part-time, exactly. But it's what I found out is I really enjoyed moving from, you have your guys in the dugout, which I missed that opportunity. But there's a lot more people at a school that I never really had contact with.
Sure.
Never had that opportunity to get into the student life areas and see the other things. So, the idea, if you want to say, what's the Dean of Students? I'm the, ombudsman for the student. Okay. If you don't know what to do, if you don't know who to talk to, if you don't even know the question that you have, I just know something's not right. Well, I'm the guy you come to, and I try to help get you in the right door, find the right policy, help you get to the end game. Okay. But also, I'm the guy that if you walk in and you start laying your thing out there, I'll say, no, you're wrong. I'm that guy too that say, don't chase that.
Tell them straight.
Yeah, exactly. You're wrong here, and you need to let it go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what functions are under the umbrella of your office?
Okay. Again, this idea of student advocate, I think that's my number one function, is being a student advocate. We also, all the judicial affairs, anything from, even with the stuff in residence life, they handle a lot of their own judicial affairs over there, but it falls up under our auspices.
So they're under you too? Okay.
Right. The medical withdrawals, anything along those lines. BART, which I hope that we talk about here in a few minutes.
We're definitely planning to. So.
Good. So BART, the recreation center, the student recreation. So I'm kind of like the fun guy. Okay. But if you have too much fun, I'm that guy too.
You're an enigma.
That'll work. Yeah.
So what about things such as advising and counseling? Is that under your?
No, we work real closely with those folks. That comes under the student affairs. Oh, okay. Or what the counseling does. The advisement center with Lisa Shaw is over on the academic side, but we work very, very close together. But the counseling center, goes through Dr. Gina Sheeks. The student health center, the health center falls under me through Dr. Sheeks as well. But it's the health center, the counseling center, residence life. If you're not in the classroom, then we pretty much have you.
Okay.
We do everything from try to take care of you to that educational experience. When I think back on my college days, English 101, great class. English 101 is good. Okay. But I don't remember a wonderful experience in English 101. I just knew that I had to have it, and I had a good teacher, and I got out of it.
Sure.
But I remember the residence life experience. I remember the intramural games where we won a championship. Okay. So that education and that way of life on a college campus, I think that's what student life is about. That's what we try to encompass.
And of course, that's a big part of the university experience. Lots of times when we talk about universities, we think about classes and Chip Reese you were working on and that sort of thing, but that's only a part of the experience of being a university or a college student.
It really is.
Because you've got this university life, and that's the place that students learn so much outside of the classroom. They learn how to problem solve.
Right.
They learn how to work with and get along with a diverse group of people. They learn leadership skills. They learn how to follow, you know, and so many, how to manage multiple priorities. There's so much from university life, I think, that's important for students.
It really is, and student government is something that I'm the sponsor, for the Student Government Association.
Okay.
And it was really interesting. I had one of our candidates, in the midst of our elections, and I had a candidate come through the other day and said, people are taking down my posters, and what do I do? Should I call the police? And I said, welcome to politics. I said, you wanted the experience. This is part of the experience.
Sure it is.
We've had a couple of great opportunities this year. They wanted to amend the Constitution, the SGA Constitution.
Okay.
And we walked through the process, we took it to the floor, and the forum voted it down. And they came back, they were so disappointed. And I said, well, yeah, but think of what all you did. Think about the groups the focus groups that you created, how you got with the political science department, you learned how to put this proposal together. It's still a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
And the forum did not like the idea, it was just some of the structure. So go back and run it through again. So you're exactly right. The education from the time you get up, the time you go to bed, and sometimes in the middle of the night, the education that you get at college.
Sure it is.
Classroom, you get your degree, and that is so crucial to your overall success. But we really believe that the commitment in student life is also part of that overall success of who you're going to become.
Sure. So when you say student life, is food service under you?
That's Tom Helton.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. We complain to Tom from time to time.
But that's all just money then at that office, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, a big part of our student life is, again, working with these other departments.
Okay.
Airmark is a great vendor that we have here on campus, and through the business office, through Tom Helton, they are able to maintain the type of quality that we need. Opening up the dining hall we have downtown.
Right.
Have you had a chance to eat down there?
It's great.
It is good.
Yes, it is.
And it's the old brick building and the big glass
great
walls.
setting.
It's a nice
Yeah,
setting.
it really is.
And again, that's that part of that campus life experience that our Vice President for Business and Finance is able to provide through a third-party vendor, Airmark, who brings to the table and says, we want to help your students have a great experience. So even the business office is, the idea is how can we help the students have a great experience?
And that really is.
That's
from what I've seen.
That's why we're all here.
Yeah.
It really is. That's why we're all here.
So in thinking about everything that your job deals with, what's the funnest thing you find yourself doing? What do you enjoy most?
I think the little wins.
Okay.
And there's times when a student will go through some trials and tribulations. We'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
And so we have to deal with that. And I tell them all, as we're kind of winding down through our little mediation or whatever we're doing, I say, look, now here's the deal. I stand at the bottom of the ramp at graduation, and you got about 2 years, okay? And I expect to see you come walking down that ramp. And so I guess maybe really the biggest thrill that I get is when somebody walks down that ramp, and I'm just standing there, and we kind of do a little eye contact, and sometimes a little handshake, a little neck hug or something, and it's that moment of we got it. It worked. Whatever was going on, it worked.
Yes.
So that's the wins. Usually you win ball games and have those moments. Those little bitty wins now to where somebody's successful. And again, that's the end of the day.
Okay. Okay. But what's the most challenging part of your job then? What do you some of those trials you've had?
Yeah, I think the most challenging is with judicial affairs.
Okay.
How it's is it the old ancient Chinese proverb, I guess, the idea of taking the fly off your forehead with an axe kind of deal. And and how do you do that? How do you, when something is taking place on campus, when we've had the alleged violation of the student handbook,
okay,
and you're going through that process, and in my office, we are the this is going to sound like an old Sylvester Stallone movie. We are the investigator, we're the judge, the jury, prosecutor, and then we're the probation office.
Okay.
Kind of all wrapped up into one. And so negotiating that process with a real education purpose in mind. You know, what took place, where do we need to go, and how can we help the student now be successful?
Okay.
And sometimes that's really difficult.
Sure.
It really is, especially when there's conflict between students and you're having to balance the discipline here with the safety of the other students involved, not only their physical safety, but maybe their peace of mind safety too, where they feel good about being here.
Are they comfortable?
Yeah. And that's a big part of it.
Sure.
Because if you don't, you know, if we do Maslow's hierarchy and all these things, if you don't feel safe in your environment, you'll never be able to move up that chart and be successful academically, have relationships that you need to have, those types of things. So safety is very, very, very important, what we try to do.
So then campus police are a big part of what you do?
Right. Right. The campus police falls under student life with Dr. Sheik, so that's a direct report.
Okay.
But I spend a lot of time with campus police as well. If you know, if anybody can make a police report, you guys can make a police report of me today, right now.
Actually, I was planning.
Were you good?
That's kind of how the show goes.
That's right. Yeah. They'll take reports. You know, just very unemotional. Hey, you want a report? Write it up. Yeah, got it.
We'll
boom.
do it. Huh?
Yeah, put it in there. And so the police take reports from other students, and sometimes those reports. They're not criminal in nature, but they're very concerning in nature. And so it's what will happen is that report comes to us. And then we look and see, is that a violation of the student handbook? Do we need to have a hearing? Or is this a great counseling opportunity to try to work with a group of students or one individual and say, you know, we need to try to work beyond this. You know, that was a bad idea.
Sure.
So when you think about the various things that you must deal with judicial affairs in particular, are there some more or less common or recurring themes that you tend to see over the years that you deal with judicial affairs?
Yeah, you know, you obviously have the visitations, you know, in the dorm, you know, where somebody's up longer than they're supposed to be with a friend over.
Oh, okay.
You know, somebody's got their radio up too loud and their roommate's trying to go to sleep.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, some of the
roommate issues.
Yeah, the just that conflict of starting to live with people that you don't know.
And that comes to you.
Sometimes it does. Rest of Life does a great job of handling most of that on their own through kind of a conflict resolution situation. But sometimes it just kind of escalates on up. The thing that we're seeing now more than anything in this electronic age is you know, the Facebook and what I don't know if I coined this or if I heard this. You know, sometimes when you say something enough, you're not sure if you made it up or somebody else did.
And I usually claim credit.
Well, I'm taking this one, okay? And you know, y'all edit this down, however, because this is mine. But Twitter popping.
Oh, okay.
Twitter popping. Yeah.
Okay, so Twitter popping is. So I'm guessing it's using Twitter to sort of flame, what we might call flame other people years ago, or harass people. Okay.
Yeah, because you got your, I'm sure that you have your 48,000 followers.
At least.
And I've got my 3, you know, my wife and kids, and you know, so I've got mine. But you put something out there, you know, I don't like Bobby because, you know, he doesn't comb his hair right. And all your Twitter followers see that, and Bobby may be one of your followers. Well, then Bobby pops back. Well, I don't like the way that you
never clean up the room. And away we go.
But it's not nearly that nice. Usually it's stuff that your mama wouldn't want to hear you say.
It sounds like an extension of what we're seeing in the education field in K through 12 schools, what we call cyberbullying, where kids are harassing one another in various media, like Facebook or Twitter or that sort of thing, kind of extending on up into university life.
It is, and it goes back to the police department some, that when we see these things, a lot of times we'll get with the police department first. Is this criminal?
Right.
Was this a direct threat towards somebody? And so we give them the first right of refusal. And if it's not, then it could be a violation of the student code of conduct in some way. You know, be threatening or harassing on a lower level, not criminal level. And then we try to have this, once we get through the hurt and such, now how do we mentor that student? How do we now work them into being a good cyber friend, you know, and having decent relationships with other folks. But I know y'all see it too with on the education side, that people are writing not only emails, but probably their papers in texties.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And the punctuation's gone.
It's gone.
So everybody's doing this shorthand stuff, and I get emails from students that will complain about something, and it's one solid paragraph with no punctuation anywhere, and
no vowels.
Words are left out, and you're trying to figure out, and I don't spell well to begin with, and when they start spelling it wrong, that makes it even worse. And a lot of what I do is I will send it back and say, you've got to put this in a format that I can understand.
Sure.
And so we kind of start there sometimes. That's an educational moment.
Yeah.
That if you want to make a professional type of complaint, you need to get it into some type of right format to where somebody could read the thing and you don't look bad.
Just don't send me a text.
There's different forms and audiences for communication.
Right. So even when you file a complaint about somebody, we start that education process on the complaint.
Okay.
Send it back. Hey, I need a period in there somewhere. Figure it out. Pop one in, I'll work with you, but we need a period. So
it's a full paragraph.
Yeah. But the whole thing we try to do is really from start to go is educate. As long as you're going to be here, we want to try to help you get better with interpersonal relationships. We want to try to help you get better educationally where we can. And then there's sometimes where we say it's time for you not to be here. And those are difficult.
And you do that.
Yeah, those are and the way I put that too, and I'll say this to students, is that I've never kicked anybody out of school. I've been the dean of students now for 12 years, not here, but I've been the dean of students. I've never kicked anybody out of school. I do the paperwork on decisions other people make about their life. Sometimes people say, I don't want to be here anymore. It's like, well, I got to sign that. Get over here so I can sign your paperwork and get you out of here.
Sure.
But it's their decisions. It really is. We do everything we can to try to keep people here and be successful. Right. But every now and then it's time for somebody to go away.
Sure.
It is. And those are tough. That's probably the hardest decision. You said hard decision. That's that hardest decision. When have we decided that we can't help you anymore?
Sure.
And
that would be the most difficult.
And sometimes I would say that decision is actually the best help for that particular person.
Yeah, I would agree.
They just had to come to that.
Yeah. Sometimes it is.
Okay.
And it doesn't mean you're gone forever.
No.
We have suspension, we have expulsion. Expulsion, you can't come back.
You're not coming back,
But sometimes being suspended and you have an opportunity to come back, especially we have the academic forgiveness policy, you can come back, take the same semester again.
Okay.
And just kind of have a redo.
Sure. A do-over.
Yeah, exactly. A football do-over. And there's a good story about that in baseball, I'll tell you one day. But a do-over. And, so that you have a chance to recover.
Okay.
But you got the lesson. And sometimes you just need a lesson.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is a good place for us to take a break. I'd just like to remind you that you're on Education Forum, and I'm Jeff Conklin. Hi, we're back on Education Forum with our special guest today, the Dean of Students here at Columbus State University, Chip Reese. And we were talking about some of the different activities that come out of his office and some of the decisions he has to make. And we're going to go into the heavy question now is, who is BART?
BART is it's a compilation of faculty and staff on campus.
Okay.
But broader. Let's go broader.
All right.
Okay. Starting back several years ago, an incident that I think most people are familiar with, the Virginia Tech shooting incident, where a student killed 32 people in one day.
Right.
And that, much like the Newtown thing that's happened here recently, really got us a lot thinking about what's going on. The Secret Service, Department of Education, the FBI teamed with the governor's office in Virginia and said, what happened? What happened up here? We understand the outcome, but what happened? Could we have figured out a way to get around this?
Sure.
Could we have avoided this in some way? And that was really the kickoff of what you would say behavior assessment. Things do happen, and we can't predict everything. I know that Dr. Rose has been with you guys from time to time,
right.
And he says the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always mean that if you're doing something, your past behavior doesn't mean that you will do something. You know, we can't necessarily say this is an absolute, but there are certain things that happen along a continuum of an aggression continuum. If you start off doing a couple of things, moving from say being verbally aggressive to somebody, or a hardening of in a discussion where you don't even want to hear an opinion, to some things we were talking about, like with Facebook and Twitter. Now you start trying image destruction. You're trying to destroy your opponent in some way. So you start seeing these progressions.
So escalating a little bit.
Exactly. So as what these BART teams do is we will receive reports from anybody, and we look and see, is there some escalating behavior? Can we, and the term of intervention or assessment in there some way, is there something that we can do to help that student be successful? You know, at the end of the day, our two goals, big goals with BART, is number one, have a safe campus, a physical safe campus, and a mentally or emotionally safe campus. Those are that's
that comfort thing again.
Exactly. That's our big goal. That's the overarching picture. Now through that is how can we help somebody be successful? You know, I'll tell you a little story. Maybe this might tell you how BART works and how we hope that BART works. Is that we got a report on a student that was involved in plagiarism. You know, and because that's behavior.
Yes, it is.
It's academic misconduct, and it's an individual's behavior. So we get this plagiarism report that comes in from the academic side of the house, and we just store it. You know, we don't do, and on the student affairs side, we don't do any of the judicial on that. That's totally faculty.
Okay, so you've got that. So you've got a report. But
exactly. It's in the house. We got it. About 2 or 3 days later, we get a second academic misconduct on the same student. At the same time, we've got a report coming out of housing of a situation that happened the night before where the police were called, had to settle things down a little bit. And then as we started looking in, we had a fight on an intramural field.
Oh, wow.
All this was happening pretty close together. And this was a very good student. I mean, this was a very good student, honor student. Well, as we started looking into it, you know, obviously we have to pay attention to behavior. You know, there's consequences with the plagiarism. There's consequences with the other things. But we saw this spiraling. Of a very good student. It's what we found that with the economy, mom and dad both were unemployed. Dad had just recently lost his job. They had lost their house. They'd now moved in the basement of, you know, one of the student's uncles. The student was down here out of the Atlanta area and was working 2 jobs, trying to send money home because he had job opportunities here and sending money home. So you just see the spiral. And we were able to catch the student. Now, there was consequences of what took place, but we were able to catch the student, get some counseling, talk with mom and dad. Mom and dad got involved, and it was the idea that you don't have to support us. We're okay.
But
you
you could see that
work. But yeah, the student, that frustration,
taking that responsibility,
and then the spillover into the academic life, the spillover into the personal life, and you start seeing these escalating behaviors that could turn physical, that could turn bad, and then if there's no way of capturing the information, if there's no way of trying to work with the student, then you're on camera that one day standing out front. Well, he was a nice kid, a great student. He just snapped.
And you know that wasn't just snapped. It had been happening.
People don't just snap.
There's signs. And
they don't just snap.
What's interesting about that particular example is not only the idea that something, if these separate incidences aren't put together, to see a pattern forming. If that doesn't happen, not only could you see a possibility of something horrendous happening, but even if something horrendous doesn't happen, you see the possibility of a student over the next year and a half continuing to disintegrate and never graduating. And failing out of school and never
and could have been caught.
Getting
in this little net.
Be successful, graduate, and then perhaps do something that will really help solve some of the issues that are going on in that.
Well, the governor's report coming out of Virginia, there was 70 recommendations they came out of this with, and the number one recommendation that you just hit was you've got to get away from these silos of information. The English department said he wrote something that's kind of funny. Residence life was having problems. There was silos all over the place. And then when the incident occurred, people said, oh, it doesn't surprise me. I knew the guy.
I saw that. Yeah, something was happening.
But it didn't come together.
Yeah.
Well, now it's coming together. And let me tell you this, I'll finish the story up. December graduation, I stand at the bottom of the ramp. Guess who walks down?
Excellent.
He made it.
Yeah, yeah.
And see, that's why I feel like I'm here. That's why Student Affairs is here at the end of the day to help people walk down that ramp.
Yep.
But that was a cool moment. But that
was a cool moment.
That's what BART is. It's the behavior assessment and recommendation team.
Okay.
That's what BART means.
Okay.
And there's national associations. We're a member of that. We have regular training, and we've got a great team.
Okay.
It involves police, residence life, academic side. It's a very, very good team, and we come around, and it's it's about helping people. That's what our goal is: help people be successful.
Sure, sure. Real support in it.
It is.
Yeah,
it really is.
And how long has BART been in place here?
We are, I guess, our 4th full year
Okay.
of actually being in place. We started off, some people may remember TAC, Threat Assessment Committee.
Yes, yes.
We started with TAC, and as we started looking into it, going to some conferences, looking around, and we came back, and it's what we were getting from faculty was, well, I didn't really think that guy was a threat.
Yes, yes.
So everybody all of a sudden became threat assessors, and nobody was putting any information in.
So you're not picking up on behavior.
We didn't know that we had a plagiarism. We didn't know that there was an argument residence like, because it really wasn't threatening. It wasn't a threat.
You know.
Right.
You know, so everybody becomes a threat assessor.
Right.
So we changed it to behavior. You know, and the way that Dr. Rose puts it, if it makes you feel, you might want to say something.
Yeah.
You know, and who do you say it to?
Sure.
And so we're the people you say it to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How successful do you think it's been in this 4 years? I mean, you just gave a great story, but I mean, are there other incidences like this?
Well, here's, think of it like this. Because of Virginia Tech, that's why BARTs and BITS and all these different types of acronyms up at, I think, University of Georgia, theirs is Bruce, or I can't quite remember. But Columbus State, we hadn't had a Virginia Tech.
Right.
So
right.
how successful have we been?
Yeah.
We've been very successful.
Okay.
You know, we've
Okay.
been very successful. Here's the problem. How do you count what didn't happen?
Right.
How do you put a
How do you
statistic on the
report
things
that?
that don't
Exactly,
happen?
exactly.
Where does
When
that
it's
go on the
working.
chart? You know, how do you do that? I can tell you this, that we've had, and see, BART's not just about students. BART's about anybody in our campus community.
Okay.
We've helped some faculty.
Have you really? Yeah.
We've helped
yeah.
some staff members. It's about safety of our campus community. It's not just this is where you go for the bad student.
Right. Right.
You know, these are good people. You know, they're good students. They're good employees. But all of us have a moment where something gets kind of funky.
Sure.
And I'll tell you this too.
Sure.
This is kind of funny. We have there's times when we look at something and we realize that it wasn't the person that was reported. The reporter is the one having the bad day.
I know this one person.
Exactly. So we have to balance that too. And having a lot of voices at the table, a lot of ears at the table, we have to try to really balance that, and we look into every situation. Sometimes we realize teacher had a bad day.
Yeah.
And
we
I
know
think
that
the
happens.
student's okay.
Yeah.
I think we're good. You know.
Sure.
So yeah.
So I'd imagine part of judging success is, of course, being able to, those that are referred to the BART system for various reasons, to be able to just over time follow the outcome for that particular person and judge, okay, things are now on track for that person, or things are still not quite on track for that person.
Right, and part of that is case management. We will follow our students. We get back to reporters a week later, a month later, maybe, and depending on the relationship, if it's in housing, a semester later. How's this person doing? You know, is everything all right? Because as long as they're here, it's still out there.
Sure
you
it
don't
is.
have something that's over with. It's not like you eat a sandwich and it's done.
It's cured.
Right.
Right.
You know, these are people.
Right.
You know, and it's an ongoing type thing. Now,
And they're young people.
Yes.
And
yeah, they're still trying to figure out who they are.
that's right. We
You know,
forget
me
that
too.
at times. Yeah. When I grew up.
And something really interesting, and I'm looking forward to this next year as we come up. And I can't remember the title of the book. I apologize. The freshman learning communities. You know, they adopt a book every year.
Yes.
And they spend that year going through the book and such. And this year, one of the English professors from Virginia Tech wrote a book about that incident.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And I just can't remember the title. Y'all type it in or something later. But it's through Dr. Terry Irving, Her group has adopted this book. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for us to talk about campus safety, BART, interpersonal relationships, and overall success. I think we got a great format for a whole year's worth of conversation.
Oh, I would believe that.
I really do. I'm excited about what's getting ready to happen.
I believe that people need to know more about BART. I think we've got to get that word out more.
We do.
And, you know, if we could help out anyway, maybe today's show will, but
I hope so.
we've got to, you know, because I had questions. And so, you know, I think that was, you know.
We did a survey last year. You know, surveys are great, depends on who you survey, but we did what we think is a pretty good cross-section of the campus. Here's what we found out, that generally speaking, 79% of the people have never heard of us.
Yeah, yeah, I can
and we
believe
think that we're out there.
Yeah.
We've been out there.
4 years?
Right.
Yeah.
But of the people that have heard of us, that have filed a report, they think we do a good job. You know, that the getting back with, the following up on, those types of things. But 100% of the people that just took the survey said they think this is a good idea. So the people that didn't know anything about us but took a survey went, this sounds like something we ought to do.
You ought to do this, yeah.
Well, we are.
We have been.
We're working that.
Where are you?
Yeah. So if you notice this past year, we had the little stress balls and we got the cups and we were going to faculty meetings and the idea. It sounds kind of a little interesting for a behavior assessment team, but we went on a marketing campaign.
Okay. Okay.
And we'll continue that marketing campaign much more so than we've even thought of in the past, because what we really realize is that, and again, this is just, I don't know if it's naive or just not paying attention or whatever. This campus is constantly refreshing its population.
Yes, it is.
Isn't that the goal?
Yeah.
To get them going.
That's what it's all about.
And bring in some new ones.
Yeah.
And as well, faculty and staff at a higher level than we would really, I think about. That it's constantly refreshing. So institutional knowledge about BART does not equate to individual knowge about BART.
That's right.
And we've got to get to that person. And we've got to also figure out how do we go from having an intrinsic look at why I need to know that information. If you have an experience, then you want to go find information. You will seek it out. Yeah. But if you hadn't had an experience to go seek it out, it's like, well, that's good, thanks, I appreciate the memo.
Right.
But if something has happened in your life,
then it becomes important.
It does.
So how do we create a world where people are actually seeking the information out without somebody having to go through some type of of incident?
That's a much better way of putting it. Sure.
Exactly.
Do you see a lot of substance abuse issues? Do those come through?
I don't see as much. I know our counseling center. Dr. Jennifer Moore is a substance abuse counselor.
Okay.
And I know we work through that some. What I get with the substance abuse more than anything is, it's like this. If you walk in the door and say, "Hey, I've got a problem. Can you help me?"
Okay.
We'll help you.
Okay.
And you can move on and be successful.
Okay.
If we kick in your door because you got a meth lab going, and then you go, "Hey, can you help me?" Yeah, with some bracelets. You're out of here. So it's like, and occasionally, we'll have that. But as far as Columbus State University, and what I have information about other colleges and universities in our region, our state and such, we're about where everybody else is.
Okay.
And it's about where society is. You put this many people together, you're going to have problems.
Okay.
Like I tell students sometimes, if you got a dog, a brother, sister, a mother, boyfriend, girlfriend, you got problems. We all got problems, right? It's part of the deal.
Yes.
It's just part of the deal. Yeah.
So, anything new coming out of your office? Anything new and exciting?
Well, I think a lot of the programming, again, the things that we're doing with our SAVE task force, which is sexual violence, looking in those areas. This needs to be, again, not only a physically safe campus, which I think is very, very safe.
Right.
All the research that we've done on our campus and such, people feel safe here.
They feel comfortable.
They do.
Sure.
But we know incidents occur. Things happen everywhere. There's those estimates of unreported things.
Okay.
And we've got to create a culture to where people feel comfortable in making reports so that they can move on personally, because those types of things they're very dangerous.
Yes.
But also, if somebody was a victim and it goes unreported, there's going to be another victim.
Somebody
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Something else, it's going to continue to happen until we stop it. And again, I don't think we have a huge problem, but we are trying to get out in front of it.
Oh, yeah.
If anything out of student affairs with Dr. Sheeks and her leadership is that we're always looking down the road. We want to be ahead of the curve on whatever it is that we're doing.
You don't want to be
You don't wanna be
reacting.
reacting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We really try to do that. It's a lot more thoughtful to be ahead of that curve.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
You don't make those emotional knee-jerk type of reactions. And we're really working hard at that type of thing, really with alcohol and drug programs and such, because we know that's part of campus culture.
It is. It is.
And how do we do those types of things? You know, and how do we help students make good choices? It's all about choices.
And again, part of that is success.
Right.
Keeping them around. Helping
Right.
them. Right.
Getting them involved. You know,
Now, you've been
idle
pushing on
hands,
that.
right?
Right,
Idle
yeah.
hands make mischief.
That's right.
So, you know, how do we get people involved? How do we reach out and find folks? We've got to get Banner, you know, our student database. We've got to get it upgraded to the fact where we know who's involved with what, so that we can market to these people whatever it is that we're trying to do, and that'll tell us who's not involved too.
Sure.
So that we can go find those people and say, what is it that we're not doing that you'd like to see us do?
Right.
How can we create something you're interested in? Do we need a mountain bike club? You know, what's cool?
Sure.
What's happening?
Sure.
What are your friends doing at other colleges?
And that's what you got to find out.
Why
so
can't
you
we
can
do it here?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like the Whitewater.
Right.
People are
right.
going to be coming here.
Oh, you know it.
You know, I really think that what's happening in the downtown area, I think that's going to be drawing students, and it's going to draw customers to Columbus. But then they're going to go, hey, that's a pretty cool university we got it right here too.
They're involved in that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, the Whitewater
Exactly.
course is going to create all sorts of spin-off activities for campus life.
It will.
For students here at the university.
It will.
That's real positive.
We're already negotiating with outfitters and such. We're looking to have our own set of helmets to where we have CSU logo.
Oh, cool.
So when you go down the river, you're going to see the
CSU as they're going down.
see a boat full of kids heading down the river. So I think it's going to be fun.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Well, we've run out of time.
Great.
And we'd like to thank you for coming on.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to say we'd like to have you back because there's a lot of
honored.
things we should talk further about because
Good.
it was good. But
Good.
thank you for coming on.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I enjoyed it. I sure did. I enjoyed it very much.
Appreciate it.
And I'd just like to thank you for watching Education Forum. I'm Jeff Conklin.